Eh, 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 eh. What's up, family? What is up? We are live. We're live. Another session, y'all. Here we go, y'all. Another session. Yo. Y'all are wondering, I'm sure you're probably wondering, what the hell is going on with the $100 bill that is like above Dawn's head, okay? With a black woman on it, by the way, right? In my reality, in my reality, this is everything. This is everything, okay? You can be on the cover of $100 bill, of $1,000 bill, of a $20 million bill. Whatever bill you want to be on, yo, we're about to talk about money today. We're about to talk about money, right? Because there is money. There is money to be made in public speaking, y'all. In public speaking, there's money to be made. And yo, I want you to succeed in getting it. I want you to succeed in getting it, okay? So today's session, thank you for the love. Oh, what's up, fam? I gotta send some waves to you all. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Good seeing you jumping in. It's money day. Now, y'all might think that I'm excited because I'm actually getting some money back on my tax returns for what actually I have to pay and to, you know, it's a balancing act with taxes. But today, y'all, today we are talking about the truth about getting paid speaking gigs. The truth about getting paid speaking gigs. Okay. Now, as somebody who has done the whole gamut, I've been paid nothing for years. I've been paid, a little about amount of money. And nowadays there's a minimum. There's a minimum that I charge, which I would have never have even thought of was feasible in my life before. So today I'm going to talk you through like three main steps that I think that people sometimes miss when it comes to like paid speaking gigs. The first is the message. The second is going to be the marketing, and the third is going to be the strategy. Okay. So if you have a pen and paper, make sure you are jotting down some notes because today we're going to talk about these three things: messaging, marketing, and the strategy. Okay, and the strategy. Now, I'm actually going to work my way backwards, because I think that there's actually a good number of people who want to be able to like get into the speaking industry and are in love with one aspect of the industry, and that is the speaking part, right? Like we have this desire in us, we have this passion, we have this love for a message that we want to spread. But then the problem is we don't know the other part of that equation. So when we're looking at this equation, we're talking about the paid speaking business, right? Oops, got a little pause there in my internet connection. Sorry about that. But we have to like look at the speaking business. There's two things that are going on here, right? We have the speaking part, and we have the business part. Have you all just randomly ever had just like a random printer just start printing on you? That's what's happening to me right this moment. Right this moment, like something is randomly printing. That, oh, you know what? I think it's my agenda. It's my agenda. I printed this bad boy probably about like an hour ago. Woo! I have no idea what's happening in the world. Something's going on with the internet connection that just caused my printer to like literally like print today's agenda. But you know what? It's okay. I wrote it out on this piece of paper. All right, so back to business. Back to oh, it is, girl. Somebody has put in the chat. I hope it's printing money. Look, y'all. Look. I hope it's printing money too. But it's not. It's not printing money. But that's okay. That's okay. Because I'm gonna show y'all how you can print your money. All right. Going back to my notes. This all came about from a conversation that I was having yesterday with some of you all online about like what's really the deal when it comes to getting paid speaking gigs, right? And one of the things I think that people are missing when it comes to the paid speaking gigs is what is the market? What is the market? Okay. So today we're gonna like look at like how do you actually think about yourself as a marketer in addition to somebody who's a speaker, right? Because oftentimes getting that money, printing that money like it was printed in the background, is all about actually finding the right strategy within the business and marketing yourself as that person that can form a solution which is worth being paid for. Okay. So the couple of things I want to talk to you all today. The first is like when you're deciding that you want to be a paid speaker, you have to remember that there is a market for paid speaking. Okay. So people might know about you, people might hear about your work, but that's part of the game in terms of getting paid speaking gigs is actually like knowing who can buy your services. Okay. So for to give you an example, if you're interested in speaking in major corporations, Pepsi Cola, Disney, Walmart, like whatever, like a corporate engagements, there needs to be that person within that corporation, or you need to know that there's a person within that corporation who has and whose responsibility, whose job it is to find speakers. Okay. Now, typically, that person is not just going to be the homie that you work with or the person that you know, your auntie, your uncle, whoever who works at Walmart. They may not necessarily have that connection, but the chances are they might be able to help you find the right person, or they might be able to bring you in to an engagement that maybe does not pay very much or at all, but is a way for you to get in front of the right eyeballs. Okay. So that's one of the first things that I want you to think about is that there's always going to be somebody, a point person at an institution, at a corporation, at a nonprofit who is responsible. If this is something that they do, if it is a place where you've seen, like, oh, I've seen John speak at this particular podcast conference, or I've seen this such and such person speak at this event, first of all, make sure that those people are actually getting paid, like legitimately getting paid. But then figure out like who is responsible for hiring those speakers. Okay. Now, these individuals, these curators, they always have like a basically like a requirement in terms of like what are they looking for in terms of their speaker. And oftentimes you have to be able to demonstrate that by me paying for this person to actually come to my campus or come to this institution, my employees or my coworkers or whoever it is that's listening to the speech is going to get a return on their investment. Okay. So I want you to start thinking of yourself not only as speakers, but also as marketing people, as like how do we market ourselves to the right buyer so that the buyer can actually invest in us and help us our business grow. Now, I know that this is like really like this is a different type of a talk for me today because it's like it's more so the business side of public speaking. You know, a lot of you might know that my passion is actually like helping to craft the message and actually like figuring out like how should this story be shared, right? And I've realized that so many of us are at that point where we're like bleeding hearts. Like we want to be able to like share our stories to change the world. And I love working with these type of people, right? The challenge is when we want to put our hearts and our souls out there, but we're doing it for free, and we're continually doing it for free, or we're doing it for cheap, and it's not going to be sustainable. It's just not going to be sustainable, right? So that's why I want you to start thinking about putting on a different cap for today. In addition to being a storyteller, in addition to being somebody who is really passionate about, you know, about the things that you want to talk about, I want you today to think about yourself as a marketer. And it can be really weird. It can be really weird because, it's kind of a reality. We live in a capitalistic society where everything is traded for some type of monetary value, right? That's exactly why I want to work with people like you, Amy, and like you, Brian, and like you. Let's see who else, Catherine. In terms of like actually figuring out like what is the market, right? So I want to talk a little bit about some of the people who I've met in the market who are killing it, in terms of public speaking and what they're doing. Okay. Three different ways to think about how you can easily think about yourself as a marketer and get yourself in front of the right audiences. Okay. You have a pen and paper? Hope you're ready to get started. Okay. So one of my friends, let's just call him DJ. Let's just call him DJ. Okay. He uses what we call is the social media strategy. And the social media strategy is he utilizes it wonderfully. So basically the way that he uses social media is he chooses one platform one platform. It could be LinkedIn, it could be Facebook, it could be Instagram, whatever it is. But he has his own hashtag. And so essentially what he does is every single day, he'll post something about his topic. So his topic is, about leadership. Um, and so he'll post something every single day on the same social media platform with the same hashtag, and the content is good. Like he'll take some time to actually figure out like what he wants to talk about in terms of leadership, and he has like different perspectives. He'll pull it from like sports or from politics or from arts and culture, but he always uses the same hashtag. Do you know that this brother is printing some serious money? Okay, this brother is printing money, and the thing is, he is not even telling people in his on his reels to hire him as a speaker. He doesn't even have to, because all of the stuff that he's getting is all inbound. It's all inbound, right? So this is the way that he is marketing himself as a speaker. People are saying like, oh, I know exactly who can talk about like leadership and sports or leadership in politics, because they see his hashtag every single day on this one platform. Okay. So that's like one way to think about how can you utilize your social media, your own stage, your own hashtags, your own like interactions with an audience in order to bring calls into you. Okay. So that's a key strategy to think about. If you dig social media, if you dig these kind of interactions, think about that as the way to market yourself. Okay. The second way that another friend of mine who's also a brother, all the people who are coming to my mind today have all been brothers. Second brother though, his name is Jerome. Okay, his name is Jerome. Jerome goes out and finds all the different associations and all the different conferences that are out there that are in his subject matter. Okay, so Jerome does a lot of stuff around like organic food, composting, but really the need for like healthy foods within urban communities. Okay, so what this brother does is he finds all the different conferences where he knows like nonprofit leaders from the Ford Foundation are going to be in the audience, or like these big events, like these science kind of techie events connected to science and the environment. And a lot of those events are always looking for speakers, right? So the thing that Jerome does is he goes to all these different conferences and he'll speak. He'll speak for free, um, with the right strategy, though. So what he does is he'll go to all these events. He speaks for free, and at the end of every single one of his speeches, he's like, "Listen, y'all. Today was like the 45-minute version of a much longer workshop event that I can do for your corporation or for your nonprofit. So, if this is something that you're really interested in, if you want to like have me come to your campus, let's dig deeper. Let's go deeper into this. Then bring me to your campus, drop your card in this bucket here at the front of the stage, or sometimes some people put up like a QR code. And they say, and make sure that you are leaving time. You're leaving time for this at the end of your presentation, so that people who are interested, who are in the audience, who could bring you, have the time to like to drop off their card or to take that picture, right? But you're specifically telling them what to do. So Jerome does this for all these different kind of like conferences. But then the other thing that's like really kind of epic about this brother's strategy is that every single year, because he's also a brother, he's a Black man, every single year during Black History Month, he knows that there's going to be a ton of colleges and universities looking for a speaker, somebody who could speak about food, about culture, about history, whatever it might be. So every single Black History Month, like a couple of months before, he hits up the student organizers, the people from student activities, and he says, "Hey, my name is Jerome. I talk a lot about the need for good organic farming within urban communities, and I would love to be able to address this during Black History Month." Do you know? Do you know that in one month, this brother brought in more than $60,000. $60,000, yo, from about like 5 or 6 different speaking engagements, because he was able to position himself as a speaker for Black History Month to the right person And they had a sense of who he was because they're like, oh, we've seen you at, the conference on food justice or something like this, right? So this all kind of goes back to the second strategy that I want that we're unveiling today. The second strategy is all about leveraging these stages, conferences, associations, where you may not necessarily get paid to speak at that conference, but because you're setting yourself up for as a marketer, you're letting people know like this is the way to contact me to bring me to your institution. This is the way to contact me to bring me in to do a deeper workshop or some more time in more depth for your institution. If you've liked this, then you're gonna love the full version of me. You know what I'm saying? That you're kind of like doing that kind of a thing. It's like, oh, you like this little taste of butter? Ha ha! I'm gonna, bring it on you, and then they get the full experience, right? And so that's the second way to really think about yourself as a marketer is to actually go out on these stages that that you know that you know is going to have some people in the audience who could potentially buy your speech or your services on the back end. Okay. Now keep in mind that is not going to be every single conference. That's not going to be every single event. But there are going to be those events that there's going to be some people in the audience who could book you on the back end. And that's how I got some of my own engagements. In Brooklyn, I did a show called Fireside. It was a conference called Fireside, and from that, it was a 45 minute. It was like in and out. It was super quick. Um, but at the very end of it, I was like, look, like I would love to come and do this workshop for your institution. If you like today, let me bring you even more, right? Sure enough, there were four people in the audience that were from Chanel. And so Chanel was one of my first like major corporate clients that I worked with because they saw me speaking about something that they were interested in, which was storytelling and storytelling in business. And so they saw the tastes. They got a little taste of John, and then they booked a sister. But that first gig that I did to market myself, I think maybe paid like 200, 300 some odd dollars, right? But A, I positioned myself as somebody who could come back, and B, I was like, I was ready for that call to action. Okay. So once again, I want you to start thinking of yourself as a marketer when you are in these types of positions. Okay. So far we've talked about ways that you can use your social media to like reinforce this, like my friend DJ. We've talked about the ways that you can do this using like stages, like other people's stages, be it like in the real world, like my friend Jerome did. you know and then the third thing is to start to actually like host your own events and curate your own audiences, right? Curate your own products. So this is the other thing that's worked really, really well. A lot of people might just say like, oh, well, she's just going out and telling stories. But actually, I'm constantly like marketing myself by hosting my own events, or bringing on people to my own stage, right? So that's the third strategy that I want people to think about is how can you host your own events? Be them live events, be them virtual events, but anything that's going to like show that you are bringing people into the fold is going to get like attention, and it's going to show people that hey, this woman or this man or this person, this individual, can actually draw in a crowd, right? So I want to be able to like connect with them, and it becomes a lot easier, if you're out there and already doing it and getting visible in front of the right people. Okay. So I see a couple of, and I forgot to mention, if you have any questions about this, make sure to just like put them in the chat, because I know that like so many of us are so passionate and such great storytellers. And it hurts me to know that it's hard to figure out the money part, right? That it hurts me to see that the people are not actually charging enough for their time. Thank you, Amy, for being here. It's much appreciated. I would love to hear and make sure you're jotting down any notes for people who are not here on this live, people who are catching it on the replay. Let me know, like, if this is all making sense to you. Like, send me a fire emoji, send me a dollar bill emoji, one with a black woman on it, even better. What? Yes. So, anyways, to recap, I want you to think about yourself as a marketer when you're thinking about paid speaking gigs, because unfortunately, that is just like the the reality of doing business. It's a public speaking business, and so the truth about it is, like, you have to market yourself. The truth about it is, like, you have to market yourself in order to actually get these paid gigs. So so yeah, to recap, and then actually I'm going to share you guys a little story about what happened to me, how I realized how I went from being paid $500 to being paid like 5,000 minimum minimum for you know for these gigs. So to recap, first of all, think about your social media. Think about, is there something that you can post on either a daily cadence or like a regular cadence? It could be maybe weekly, but definitely something that you feel like you can own in terms of a hashtag or a thought, something where eyeballs from other viewers are going to be coming to you and checking with you about the content, right? Like my friend DJ, he's got that hashtag. I don't even know if I actually, he has an awesome hashtag. It's on LinkedIn. And every single day he's posting, and he is making multiple six figures, not by even saying that he's a paid speaker, because people are just coming to this brother. They're just coming to him. And it's like, it's incredible to see that he doesn't even have to do much. And then once he states his price, he states his price. 10,000, 20,000. And if it's the right person, if it's the right demographic, they're not going to even blink, right? And also, you all just reminded me, I should also talk about, like, what are the going rates? What's a going rate? Like, what's normal in terms of the money? What is normal? If y'all want to know, like, what is the norm in terms of like how much I can get it charged, let me know. Like, just put like some dollar bills or some hearts, and I'll talk about how much you should charge in just a moment. Um, but yeah, so that first thing is, like, can you create something on social media that draws people into you? Okay, so that way you're not having to do outbound calls, you're not having to do like outbound emails, you're not having to incorporate chat GPT in order to like in order to get your leads. Okay, you're actually just having those people come to you. Okay, which I know in my case feels a lot better to have these people come to me. Wait, like, thank you for those hearts. I think that definitely means that you want to talk about how much to charge. All right, I'm gonna get there in just a second. I'm gonna get there in just a second. Okay, cool. The second strategy was getting on other people's stages when you know that they are going to be worthwhile. Right? Not every stage is going to be worthwhile, but definitely you can speak for free or for cheap if you know that on the back end of your 45 minutes, of your 30 minutes, whatever it is, you have a strategy, you have a call to action where you can say, book me, book the full me for a full day training for your speaking engagement, and make sure that you take my business card, or you take a picture of this of the scan of this document, or whatever it is, however it is that you're marketing yourself. Once again, we're thinking of yourselves as marketers. Okay. And then the third thing is hosting your own events and hosting your own stages, um, and actually like bringing people into your own universe, and then talking about that, of course, on social media or in the public, so that you have a kind of like a buzz around the things that you're saying, the things that you're doing, and naturally people are just going to start like coming to you. Okay. So let's talk the dollars. Let's talk the dollar bills, y'all. Okay, let's talk the money. All right, I hope y'all have a pen and paper and you're ready for this part. Okay, now if you are a beginner speaker, I'm talking about like 0 to the first couple of speaking engagements, right? And if you're in the right market, and right market could be high schools. Like, high schools have money and they pay money for speakers. Okay. There is definitely a high school within a 50-mile radius of where you live that will pay you to speak. Okay. So if somewhere between 0 to 2,500 is a easy range for high schools. I would say even up to 5,000. Okay, so that means for high schools, for local community events, 0 to 2,500. If you have like 0 to 4 speaking engagements under your belt. Okay. If you have a couple more under your belt and you're looking at like the college market, we're talking at least a minimum of $5,000. Okay, and we're talking. This is in the United States. I'm not so sure about other countries, but if you're tuning in and you're interested in these figures, I'm mostly talking about the United States. Okay, so if you are the beginner speaker, couple of different paid gigs under your belt, and we're looking at corporate is going to at least start at 10, if not 20. Okay. I know a lot of different nonprofits that charge 10 minimum for any type of corporate engagements. And that's a cheap rate. At 10, you're doing them a favor. Okay. But if you're talking to the right person, if you have a message, if you have something that can solve the right problem for these people, we're looking at least 10. Okay. Now, if you have even more experience, if you have a couple of years of experience under your belt, then these numbers start to multiply. So if we're looking at like the college market, we're looking at least 10,000 as opposed to 5,000. Okay. And this often varies depending on, like, once again, who is the buyer? Have you done multiple gigs with them before? What exactly it is that you're delivering upon, right? Keep in mind that they might want, instead of doing a $5,000 speech, you might do a $10,000 speech plus workshop, okay, or speech plus professional development training, okay. So these are all numbers that we have to keep into account, that not every single speaking engagement is going to look the same in terms of, like, am I speaking for 45 minutes, or am I speaking for an hour, or am I doing a couple of workshops? But my best advice is, if you are going to be at a place, in any case, if you're going to be at a college or a university, if you're going to be at a corporation, try to upsell yourself for the rest of the day. You're already going to be on that campus. You're already going to be on that location, right? So instead of like booking yourself or booking me for $5,000, bring me in and I'll do some like more in-depth hands-on stuff with the professional development team, and it'll just be another 5,000, right? So once again, this is the way that you can start to add value to something once you've already started getting that once you started building that momentum. Okay, so you get a couple under your belt that pay good, that pay at least 2,500. You start to level up those videos, get those to the right people, start getting those $5,000 or $10,000. And little by little, it all starts to explode, because the corporate engagements then go from about 10 to 20 to 25. And so if you're looking like at a pretty mature speaker who's been doing this for some time, we're looking at least like 50K plus. The numbers, and it's like a compounding effect that happens once people start to see who you are within the speaking industry. Okay. So, Amy, I would love to jump on a call with you too. This is, I do not want people to like leave money. Don't be leaving money on the table. You feel me? Can I get a flame? Somebody throw me a flame up in this piece. Okay. Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm all excited about this topic because it's changed my life. It's changed my life. So I'll close out with a quick story in terms of like how I learned this, which, because it's kind of a funny story. But I was doing the third strategy. I was essentially hosting my own events, and I was hosting a show called Barbershop Stories, which was a show where people were like getting their hair cut and telling stories in like these barbershops around New York City. And so my homegirl Shalu, she had just gotten signed with a speaking agent. And so I was like, yo, invite the agent to the show. If you all just like want to hang out, we're gonna be at a barbershop, we're gonna be eating some food, playing some music, we're singing some songs, just having a good time. And so she did. She invited him. And like, as I was hosting the show, I was mentioning how I had just done this gig at NYU about like entrepreneurship and storytelling. and how I loved it, how the kids were like rocking it, all this kind of stuff. And so I was kind of just bantering, with the audience, with my co-host as the show was getting started. And then afterwards, the host, he comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, I heard that you're doing like these college gigs, like around storytelling, entrepreneurship." And I'm like, bet. And he had one for me. And so I went to his offices a couple days later, and sure enough, he had a client who needed somebody who talked about storytelling and leadership and entrepreneurship um, at the University of Maryland. And I was like, great. Now, keep in mind, I had just been paid $200 at NYU to do this engagement, and this guy was paying me $5,000, $5,000 for a 45-minute talk, and I was like, wait, what? How? Isn't this the exact same thing that I just did a couple days ago, but under for a different audience, even a smaller audience, actually, for that matter. So, yes, University of Maryland. It was UMBC. This was like, what year was this? This must have been in 20 20 maybe 2009, somewhere around there, I want to say. So it's been a hot minute. But anyways, point being that it was a great engagement. It was a huge wake up call that there are so many different. I mean, think about how many colleges there are in the United States, or think about how many colleges there are in your hometown area vicinity, right? Each one of these colleges has a budget for speakers. So once you kind of go into the marketing mindset, it's a matter of figuring out, okay, the who are they hiring? Who are they hiring at the school to bring in? What kind of talent are they bringing in? Typically, in colleges, universities, those are people who are like in motivation, like motivational speakers, people who can like really inspire, their students to stay involved. It's leadership. Leadership is a big one in colleges. You know, it's prevention. So like drug prevention, overdose prevention, rape prevention. But once again, this is kind of going back into understanding the market for the schools. The schools will pay good money because they need to solve this problem. They need to make sure that they're creating a space for leaders to grow, for people to feel safe, right? And they can't do that with the staff that they have on the campus. So that's basically the what I started learning, is that when it comes down to the truth about paid speaking gigs, it's not only the passion for the speaking, but it's also the business. And it's really understanding how can we make smart choices in the business by marketing ourselves in the right way. So so that's what I wanted to share with you all today. And if you all are interested, I would thank you so much for the love. It's these I love these live streams. I love like hearing your guys' feedback. This all kind of came about from somebody who was asking yesterday, like, like what is the truth behind paid speaking gigs? Like just break down the truth for us. So, but if y'all are interested in like in learning some more, I do have a program. It's called Ideas That Ignite. Ideas That what? Ignite. And it is specifically for those who are looking to get on the stages of TED and TEDx. What? Ideas That what? Ignite. Woo! Yes, but make sure make sure that I'm not doing this. Okay, I'm not igniting the money. That I'm not going to do that. Okay. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Two separate things. Speaking business. Speaking business. Okay. Anyways, let me stop being silly. Anyways, y'all. Yeah, hit me up. I'd love to work with y'all. The program is actually kicking off tonight for spring. So if you are interested, now is the time to take action. Ignite.donjfraser.com. Ignite.donjfraser.com is the space to check it out. And yeah, once we like actually figure out how people are articulating their message, that's a big part in terms of figuring out how can I get this in front of the right market so that they can pay me for my work. So a lot of the work that we do in terms of like figuring out like what am I going to do in terms of a TED talk relates directly to like how do I articulate my message when I'm trying to get paid speaking gigs. Okay. So if that's you, if that's something that you're interested in, definitely encourage you to check out ignite.dondrefraser.com. We start tonight. We start tonight because there is money. There is money to be made. Okay? There is money to be made, my brothers, my sisters, my family, my people. All right? So stop leaving money on the table. Make sure that you think of yourself in terms of the marketing angle when it comes to the business of speaking. And you know, we'll continue building. All right. Hope you all enjoyed today's live. Hit me up, ignite.dondrefraser.com. And I'll see you soon. Peace.